According to StatMuse.com, the Warriors have an offensive rating of 102.8 without Steph Curry on the floor. That would be dead last in the entire league. But with Steph Curry on the floor, they got an offensive rating of 114.7. That would be top 10 in the league, even ahead of teams like the Lakers and Sixers. That's how much Steph Curry impacts the Warriors. There's no single player in the entire league who has as much of an offensive impact as Steph, and it's been that way for a long time, ever since the Warriors rose into prominence. However, in the past, even without Curry on the floor, they still had a competent team. They had a lot of talent to make up for his absence. Now, they don't. They need to rely on Steph to show up every night, or else they'd lose. This is brand new territory for Steph. He's never had to carry a team so hard in his entire life. How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and today, let's talk about the Warriors. Besides Steph, what the hell is going on with the rest of the squad? Why are they so bad? And is this a problem with the coaching or the players? And what's in the future for the Warriors? But before we start, this video is sponsored by ExpressVPN. A VPN allows you to change your virtual location and connect to private, secure servers across 94 countries. Did you know you can get discounts by setting your VPN to a different country? For example, you can save a ton of money on NBA League Pass if you connect to a server in India. And you can also save $10 per month on Netflix if you connect to a server in Argentina. If you're a fan of streaming shows, you gotta get a VPN. Did you know that some Netflix libraries in other countries have so many more shows available? You can connect to a server in Canada to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine, or connect to a server in the UK and watch Studio Ghibli animations, like the Academy Award-winning movie Spirited Away. Recently, I used ExpressVPN to watch that since it's not available in the US. It's also very fast too. When you connect to a server, your upload and download speeds aren't that much different than if you're not connected. You can get ExpressVPN for 3 months free by clicking the link in the description below, or go to expressvpn.com/AndyHoops. Quote, as impressive as the Warriors have looked at times this season, there's still a new-look roster learning how to play off Curry. Far too often, players run into Curry, unaware of which reads to make in Kerr's read and react system. That was a quote from an article in the San Francisco Chronicle. The Warriors have indeed looked pretty good in many games, hence why they're still in the playoff race kind of. But they're also a ragtag group of guys who are not accustomed to playing with Curry or playing in the Warriors system in general. Take for example, Andrew Wiggins. Now, we've all heard the criticism about him through all the years of disappointment in Minnesota. After the trade, we figured, hey, he's on the Warriors now, maybe he could get a fresh start and a new perspective on the game. Perhaps he can adapt to a brand new style of play. So far, it's been relatively positive, although still a mixed bag of results. Efficiency-wise, he's better than he's ever been before. But there are still many times when he looks completely lost, especially on offense. The coaches want him to cut more and to be more active off the ball, as that's his greatest strength. But he still goes back to his habits of standing around, not really doing much, and just not moving enough. Wiggins used to be a heavy isolation player to the dismay of Wolves fans, and he's tried to reduce that, but still has the highest isolation rate on the team. Overall, he's been pretty good. But look at it this way, due to Klay's injury, Wiggins is essentially replacing Klay as the secondary scorer on the team, and compared to Klay, Wiggins is still far behind. While he's playing well, it's still a major drop-off compared to what the Warriors used to have. Kelly Oubre is another guy who's simply not used to this style of play. Back on the Wizards, he also had habits of just watching the ball, watching John Wall and Bradley Beal do their thing. So he's still not accustomed to the Warriors' read and react system. When you have your second and third leading scorers on the team who are basically completely new to the system and as inconsistent as they are, it's gonna take a while to adapt. If Curry has an off shooting night, Wiggins and Oubre are not reliable enough to carry the offense all the time. It doesn't help that Draymond Green is also having the worst offensive season of his career, as he's clearly struggling with the lack of spacing. He used to thrive off of pick and rolls and the space provided by Steph and Klay. But with Wiggins and Oubre, he's been suffocated. It's hard for him to score or make plays when he doesn't have enough breathing room. The team is also trying to slowly integrate James Wiseman, and that's gone decently well, but his playing time has gone up and down throughout the year. However, the biggest problem lies with their underwhelming use of the pick and roll. The Warriors are 29th in the NBA in pick and roll usage, with only 14.6% of their possessions involving a pick and roll. At face value, this doesn't mean it's a bad thing. For example, the Nuggets are actually dead last in pick and roll usage, but they've been doing fine. They prefer to run their offense through Jokic, as opposed to running pick and rolls. The point is, you have to run plays that benefit your personnel. In the Warriors' case, though, they're actually very good when they do run the pick and roll. In fact, they're 4th in the league in pick and roll efficiency, and yet they run them at such a low frequency. They should be running them way more. Fans are getting impatient with Steve Kerr. The man once known to be a revolutionary coach, maybe he's not all that. Maybe he doesn't deserve as much credit as he got, and in the past, his coaching got masked behind the tremendous amount of talent on the roster. Now, with a roster that desperately needs his guidance, he's been falling short. Steve Osler of the SF Chronicle put it perfectly. Kerr prepared us, the media and fans, for that cold NBA reality, but was he prepared? Not only have the Warriors fallen to earth with a thud, but so has Kerr. Kerr's stubborn eschewing of the pick and roll, which is all the rage in the NBA. Stephen Curry is a great pick and roll guard. Wouldn't more PNR speed the development of the chemistry between Curry and Wiseman, who have not been effective together? A great coach adapts his system to the players he has. Kerr has put a lot of value in his motion, read and react type of offense, but perhaps moving towards a more pick and roll heavy one isn't a bad thing. It might be predictable and he might not like that, but it fits better with the personnel on this team, especially for Wiseman. This has been the issue all season long, and the Warriors have had difficulty fixing it. Statistically, Curry and Wiseman are not a great fit together. When both Curry and Wiseman are on the floor together, they have a negative net rating of -9.1. When Curry is on the floor without Wiseman, the Warriors' net rating jumps up to +6.8. That's literally like a 16-point swing per 100 possessions. That's freaking massive. It's a rough adjustment for both of them because Wiseman has never played with a score-first, shoot-first point guard like Steph, while Steph has never played with a center as raw and as talented as Wiseman. This is a guy who's so athletic, so quick on his feet, can shoot and dive to the rim at will. He can do so much, but he just doesn't know when to do it. When should he roll to the rim, and when should he fade out to give Steph space to drive? It's gonna take a while for them to develop the chemistry, but at the same time, Curry's not getting any younger. Personally, I still think Kerr is a fine coach. It's just, these new faces on the team have changed the Warriors' identity, and everyone's still trying to figure it out. Offense is only part of the equation though. Defensively, they've been surprisingly pretty good. Even with Draymond Green missing a handful of games and Klay being out the entire year, having two athletic wing players, long arms, quick and agile like Wiggins and Oubre, they've been working hard on defense, especially Wiggins, who was never known to be a great defender until his arrival to the Warriors. In mid-February, this tweet showed how he's statistically an elite defender. He held opponents to 38.5% shooting in the first 2 months of the season. At that point, that was good for second in the entire league, out of all players. And since then, he's continued to maintain it, still limiting his opponents to under 40% shooting. As a result of him and his team's efforts, the Warriors still maintain a top 10 defense in the league, despite having a losing record. That's what they've relied on to keep going even through their offensive shortcomings. So, what's in the future for this team? I think they'll definitely be a playoff contender once Klay comes back. Wiggins will remain, his contract lasts until 2023. With Steph and Klay providing so much spacing, I think Wiggins will thrive even more when the trio plays together. With his newfound defense paired with Klay, that'll be insane. They'll be a dominant defensive wing duo, kinda reminiscent of Kawhi and Danny Green. As for Oubre, I think he's gone. His contract expires in the 2021 offseason, and the Warriors won't pay him what he wants. Plus, there won't be room in the starting lineup for him when Klay returns anyway. But the real question is, the rest of the Warriors, mainly their bench. Once known for having arguably the best bench squad in the league, they fell off on hard times. The bench is a huge question mark. A lot of their contracts are either about to expire or they're not guaranteed for the following season. So we don't even know who will be back and who won't. Also, I've mentioned Klay numerous times in this video, but the truth is, we don't know if he can successfully return back to form. When you suffer both a major ACL injury and you tear your Achilles, that's literally the worst two injuries you could get in basketball. And perhaps the success of the Warriors depends on his recovery. The last player to have suffered both of those injuries was DeMarcus Cousins, and he never returned back to form. Those injuries turned him from a superstar into a role player, and that's being generous. He can barely even move nowadays. Needless to say, the future is uncertain. They got a mishmash of players who are disposable, and most of the roster could be overhauled if they really wanted to. Anyway, that's all folks. What are your thoughts on the current Warriors? Are they underachieving? Overachieving? I don't know, but I think they're right around where we expected. Still a decent team, but they're in a rebuilding phase, still trying to find out what direction to go. Do you foresee them being contenders once again after Klay returns? Or do they need more? The Western Conference, the league in general, is as competitive as ever. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and of course, as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.